Marcus Brody standing by with the head coach of the UNLV baseball team, Tim Chambers. Skip, 6 games left in the season. You're battling for position heading into this conference tournament in roughly 3 weeks. What's your message to your team at this point in the year with 3 against the Nevada Reno Wolfpack coming up and then 3 big games with Air Force to close things out?
Well, it's really it's a couple things. The kids still believe we have a shot to get an at-large bid if we don't win the conference tournament. And I believe that too, but we're going to have to win out or at least win 5 of them, win this series and get a sweep next week or vice versa. But really the most important thing, I think, is going into the conference tournament having a chance to get that bye. Reno still has a chance to do it. They're 2 games behind us. They could run the table on us and take over second place. That's our main goal, to try to get that. You don't want to face somebody's number 1 in the second game with your number 2 or 3. In our case, I don't know who's our number 1. Fetty's our Friday night guy, but Buddy's put together a hell of a year. So more so than who we're facing, not having to play as many games in the tournament. So that's what we're trying to chase down, 2 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. For fans out there that aren't familiar with it, the top 2 seeds in the Mountain West tournament actually receive that first round bye, which, as Skip alluded to, will allow you to conserve your Friday night starter. And speaking of that, you brought up Eric Fetty's name. And he had some bumps in the road here throughout the season, but last week really turned in a solid start. He worked 8 innings, gave up just 1 run against Fresno State at home. What's it mean to your entire pitching staff to have Eric Fetty going right?
Well, he got off to a real good start this year. I think he ran into some mechanical problems, and then that, I think, got into his head a little bit where he was trying too hard and then probably throwing too many fastballs in hitters' counts. And getting himself down in the count when he is up in strikes, trying to pick at the corners rather than going right after him and find himself into a lot of 3-2 counts, which got his pitch count up and walking guys. So typically speaking, he doesn't walk too many guys, and last week he did a great job throwing a lot of strikes. And for me, I thought it was his best out of the year, really. Even with the complete game he had earlier, his stuff was really good. His velocity was really, really good. Then he was locating all of his pitches. So our team believes when he's on the mound we got a chance to win, and I believe that as well. And I think he's right now, and it's a good time for him to be right. I think we're playing well now as a team going into this series. Maybe offensively, starting with the last 4 innings at New Mexico, we're swinging the bats really well right now all the way through the lineup. So it's going to be a tough series. We won't see too many bad hops with the turf there. So ground ball hits are going to be scarce, and we just got to be patient at the plate. We're running into a buzzsaw tonight in Shipley. He's very good, and we got to get to him early if we can.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Shipley in a minute, but you also mentioned the bats are starting to heat up, and I know we've talked about this guy on several occasions in the past, but Pat Armstrong has been a guy who's really, I hate to say it, but come out of nowhere for you to be one of the best hitters on this team, and right now hitting over 400. Last weekend you elected to move him into that cleanup spot, and he did nothing to prove you wrong in that, had one heck of a weekend. What's been the key to his success? Can you pinpoint anything? How has he been able to do this season?
Well, I think first and foremost, Patrick, he worked really hard in the offseason. In his head, he's trying to prove a lot of people wrong. He's one of the best hitters in the country if you look at the numbers right now, not just in the league. And it helps our team for him to be hitting well and hit behind Brandon. And as you can see, the last several games, they're having to throw Brandon more strikes. You don't want to go to another big guy behind him and walk him. And they did that a couple times in our last few ball games by hitting Brandon, and Patty came up with the big hits. But couldn't happen to a nicer kid. He's one of our leaders. He works extremely hard. He's played great first base for us, which we needed him to do with TJ going down with the back here the last couple of weeks. So, I enjoy seeing good people have success, and Pat deserves everything he's gotten so far.
No question. And you mentioned TJ White going down with injury. A guy that you've had to slide over into that shortstop position is Matt McCallister. Now, it should be noted, Matt's a shortstop by trade, but he's done a fine job filling in for TJ, as we said, who's been out with injury. Really hasn't missed a beat and continues to do good things at the plate for you as well.
He does. And he's played really good at short for us. TJ, we need him back. We're going to DH him tonight and maybe tomorrow, just kind of to see how his body reacts. If we put him in the lineup and I have to take him, it kind of messes everything up. I got to start moving bodies around, and now you're going to the bench and putting somebody in that's not ready to go in. at the time, or even go to a position they're not ready to play. And it kind of happened to us at New Mexico when they scored 6 on us there in the ninth. I put the DH in and made some moves there to try to have a better defense because I had to take Whitey out, and it hurt us a little bit because then we had to change pitchers when Idens got the final out there in the ninth, and then we went to extra innings. We had to go to another body. So we need TJ back playing at full strength, and we're going to do everything to have him back by next weekend. But for now, it'll be DH tonight and see how the back reacts.
On the UNR side, Braden Shipley going for the Wolfpack and comes in with a 7-2 record, 2.45 ERA, and an extremely good pitcher, not just in the Mountain West Conference, but in the country. Some projections have him going very, very high in this upcoming baseball amateur draft, as high as the first round in some cases, and within the first 10 picks by some people's projections. What makes him so good, and how do you go about combating that and having success tonight?
Well, I don't know his background coming into UNR. I do know that he was recruited as a shortstop, so I don't know how much he pitched in high school, but typically speaking, when position players move to the mound, they have what they call young arms. They haven't logged a ton of innings, so that's attractive, I'm sure, to the scouts that he hadn't been a pitcher until the last couple of years. But he's got a really good curveball that when he locates it early in counts, then he throws it hard when he's up in the count, and it's hard to lay off of it. But he also has a good changeup, and the velocity gets up to 97. So he's a very good college pitcher right now, and in my opinion, one of the best in the country. That's probably why they have him slated so high. But we scored against him last time, and Fetty didn't pitch well, and he'll tell you that. But we tagged him, I think, for 4 or 5 runs, and we scored 8 in the game on Friday night. And that's enough to win, but they scored more than we did, and they got us down there. And I expect the game to be a little more low-scoring this Friday than it was the last time we played them on Friday.
Well, Coach, wish you the best of luck tonight. A 6 o'clock start and then a couple of afternoon games to finish out the weekend. And like we said at the outset, 3 more with Air Force to conclude the regular season and then on to the Mountain West Tournament. Best of luck the rest of the way. Go get them tonight.
Thanks, Brody. Appreciate it.